What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about Anders Breivik. Now, I don't know anything about Anders Breivik, but when I was setting up this video and pulling up some of his information, I saw that he is a Norwegian mass murderer, one of probably the most famous Norwegian mass murderer. So I just want to say off the bat, I want to be as respectful and understanding and empathetic as possible during this episode, just because I know this must be a very touchy subject, rightfully so, and I don't want to glorify this disgusting, despicable human being at all. I just want to learn for educational purposes, basically. So, just to preface with that, I pulled up Anders Breivik Wikipedia here. And it says here he is a Norwegian far right domestic terrorist, which is pretty shocking, honestly. Especially in America, you never hear about crime in Norway. I think Norway is considered one of the safest and happiest places on the planet for basically every year when they keep track of that stuff. So it's pretty shocking to hear about something like this coming out of Norway. But this type of stuff unfortunately has no nationality, has no barrier around the world. This stuff happens, and a lot of crazy stuff like this happens in America. And it's still a bit shocking to me to hear that something like this happened in Norway. He is known primarily for committing the 2011 Norway attacks. 2011. So that was about 12 years ago. I'm sure this was, and is, huge news in Norway. National tragedy. Unthinkable. Sad. Probably a nation grieving. I can only imagine. Like, there have been national tragedies I have lived through in America, like 9/11 terrorist attacks and stuff like that, mass shootings that happen in America, but it never gets any easier or anything like that. It's never any less heavy the more that it happens. It's always, every single time, as horrible as the last. Anywhere in the world, somewhere like something like this happens, in which he killed 8 people by detonating a van bomb at Regjeringsskarvtalet, Oslo. Excuse me for butchering that, I'm sure. He detonated a van bomb, like an explosive device in a van, in Oslo. Goodness gracious. Killing 8 people and then killed 69 participants of a workers' youth league summer camp in a mass shooting. Oh my God. That is beyond comprehensible. That is one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. Bar none. He killed 69 people at a summer camp? Like children? On an island of Utoya? Where is this located? It's in Norway, 500 meters offshore. He blew up a car and killed 8 and killed 69 people in a shooting as well. Jesus. Yeah. I had a feeling this was gonna be. I didn't know how bad this was gonna be. That is, and there he is right there, by the way. I've been staring at him the whole time, not realizing it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Someone is capable of that. Disgusting. Beyond disgusting. After Breivik was found psychologically competent to stand trial. Okay. I'm not gonna read the whole the short version of the story. I'm gonna scroll down and read kind of the longer version of his story. Family name is Breivik. Um, Born in Oslo, 1979. Has a half sister. Spent his first year in London. Huh, that's weird. Reports of parental abuse when Breivik was 4, living in Oslo. 2 reports concerning his mental health. Sheesh. One report made a note about the boy's particular smile, suggesting it was not anchored to his emotions, but rather a deliberate response to his environment. Has he been psychotic his entire life? This kind of suggests that someone in the report said he smiled like he didn't mean it, like he was putting on an act to act human, which makes sense because this is no human. No human could do this. No human could kill 77, is it? 77 people. No human being could do that. Man. What else do we have here? Concerns were raised about how he was treated by his mother. Report recommended he be forcibly removed from his mother, placed into foster care. Was that happen? Did that happen? That was not carried out by the Child Welfare Service. He was not taken away from his mother. Breivik's mother had fled her abusive home at 17. She became pregnant. She claimed he was a nasty child and was kicking her on purpose when she was pregnant. She had wanted to abort him, but he had passed the 3-month threshold. If only. 1 year after Breivik's birth, his parents' relationship ended. Man, so he had a pretty nasty childhood, and a mom who didn't want him, and he probably had mental health disorders on top of all that, whether that's genetic or caused. Sheesh. Oh man, what else do we have here? The psychiatrist's conclusion of the stay was Breivik should be placed in a foster care. This was based on several observations. Breivik had little emotional engagement. He did not show joy. He did not cry when hurt. No attempts to play with other children. He was clean and anxious. Yeah, he was clearly disturbed from a very young age, huh? Oh man, on rare occasions, his long phases of emotional voidness would be interrupted by fits where he'd erupt with uncontrolled emotions. Oh boy. His mother had told Breivik she wished he was dead. So, okay. His childhood was completely screwed up, without a doubt. Not that that excuses anything, but it does grant some insight into how this all came to pass, huh? Later childhood and adolescence. Breivik attended Semstad Grammar School. A former classmate recalled Breivik was intelligent, physically strong, took care of people who were bullied. Breivik lived with his mother. Oh, still with that mom? As a teenager? What else do we have here? Breivik chose to be confirmed into the Lutheran Church of Norway at 15. In his adolescence, Breivik's behavior was rebellious. He was a prolific graffiti artist, part of the hip-hop community in Oslo. Took his graffiti more seriously, caught by police, and child welfare was notified, and he was fined on 2 occasions. And his father ceased contact with him by 15 when he was a teenager. From adolescence, Breivik spent his time weight training and using steroids. Oh man. Cared about his own looks, about being big and strong. Breivik had criticized his parents for supporting the policies of the Norwegian Labour Party, and his mother for being a moderate feminist. Breivik criticized his parents for supporting the Labour Party. Okay. Interesting. I don't know too much about Norwegian political party politics and whatnot. I don't know if that has anything to do with this. Breivik was exempt from military service and had no military training. Uh, he was deemed unfit for service at the conscript assessment. Jeez. At the age of, which is weird because he's weight training. He's very big and strong. Why was he deemed unfit for service? Could they tell that he was crazy as well? At the age of 21, Breivik worked in customer service of an unnamed company, working with people from all countries, being kind to everyone. He was described as an exceptional worker and had an unusually big ego. Huh. In 2005, he visited Belarus, and he went to meet a woman from a dating website. According to friends, Breivik had cosmetic surgery on his chin, nose, and forehead in his early 20s, and was pleased with the result. Cosmetic surgery on his chin, nose, and forehead. What a strange man. He is like chin, nose, and forehead. Cosmetic surgery as a male 20-year-old. Doesn't know how to show emotion. Emotionally abused by his mother. And displaying basically psychopathic tendencies. This is all starting to add up, huh? Oh boy, here we go. 2011 terror attacks, 2011. Planning. Goodness gracious, they know how he planned for it. So it was a car explosion, a van in Oslo. God, in Oslo. Wow. And the slaughter of 69 people at a summer camp on an island. Did they shoot him? Was he killed during that? Or is he captured? Is he in jail right now? I don't know any of that either. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that as well. Oh my God. Breivik claimed he started a 9-year plan to finance the 2011 attacks. He was planning this for 9 years, forming a computer programming business. He made 1 million kroner at 24. He wrote a manifesto. Oh, so he had a manifesto. Maybe that's how they know about a lot of this stuff as well. So he was financing this for years. He was thinking about doing this for years. Why? Not that it matters why, you know? Who cares? Like, there's no why for when you kill dozens of people in cold blood. It's disgusting. There's no why. But in his mind, what was his motivation for doing this, you know? Ugh. The company was declared bankrupt. He was reported for breaching the law and moved back to his mom's house to save money. The first set of psychiatrists who evaluated him said in their report his mental health deteriorated at this stage, and he entered a state of withdrawal and isolation. His declared assets were like 76,000 US dollars. Okay. In 2009, so that's 2 years before the terror attack, he founded a farming company under the name Breivik Geofarm. In 2010, he visited Prague to buy weapons. Unable to obtain weapons, he used legal channels in Norway. So he had explosives, and he had some kind of firearm, some kind of gun, because it was a mass shooting. He bought one semi-automatic Glock pistol legally. He got it legally, demonstrating his membership to a pistol club. In the police application for a gun license, he had a semi-automatic rifle using a hunting license, because it's not, in America it's easy to get guns, like disturbingly easy. But in Norway, it's not that easy. It's not normal to own guns, from what I understand. So he actually had to come up with some ways to get the guns. But I'm sure he had the motivation. Hunting license. His manifesto included writings about how he played video games like World of Warcraft and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 for a training simulation. Oh my God, give me a break. He told a court in 2012 Oh, he told a court in April 2012. So that's after he was captured and brought into court. That's interesting. So he was not killed during his mass shooting. He was captured. I don't know which I'd rather it be. This man kind of sounds like he deserves to, you know. I don't think I doubt Norway has the death penalty. I somehow doubt that. Just thinking about how Norway is. Let me see if I can look that up. Does Norway have the death penalty? The prohibits capital punishment since 2014. The last execution was in 1948. No, there's no death penalty. As a matter of fact, Norway is known like for being a fantastic nation for criminal rehabilitation, fair treatment of prisoners, jails that are nice and based around rehabilitation. But for someone like this, I don't think there's any there is no rehabilitation for Anders Breivik. Like, he killed 70 people. He doesn't deserve any of that. Norway does not have a death penalty, so I assume he was not put to death. He told, what else do we have here? He trained for shooting using a holographic weapon sight. Okay. Almost like he's bragging. Like, he told the court that he trained for this with video games and that he planned for years to do this. He seems almost proud or happy to discuss how he was getting ready for this, which is disgusting. Breivik had no declared income in 2009. His funds were depleting. A month before the attack, he paid the outstanding amount on his credit cards to have funds. Man, I don't know if he assumed he was going to die during this attack or not, or I still don't understand what his motivation for this was, honestly. In late July, he moved to rural South on a farm. He used the company to legally obtain large amounts of artificial fertilizer and other chemicals for manufacturing of explosives. He bought a farm to get fertilizer to make explosives. Truly, oh my god. A farmer supplier sold Breivik 6 tons of fertilizer, and he bought a small quantity of an explosive primer. So he found ways to get the explosives and to get the guns that he needed. He found ways to do that. Financing it with, like, credit cards. Breivik's farmer neighbor described him as a city dweller who wore expensive shirts, knew nothing about rural ways. Yeah, he just randomly bought a farm as a cover, but he was still just this city guy who got plastic surgery all over his face and was crazy. Breivik has also covered up the windows of his house. The owner of a bar profiled his body language at Oslo airport, saying nothing unusual about Breivik. He was an occasional customer at the bar. So next we have the attacks. I don't want to rush any of this. And honestly, this is a longer story than I anticipated. Very sad, you know. Like, there's not too much to say at this point, but I think I'm going to stop here for now. Take a breath. Come back for part 2, where I'm going to learn about the day of the attacks, what he did, and hopefully about his capture and sentencing, and hopefully he's rotting in prison. Like, I really hope so. But I think that's it for now, and we'll continue this in part 2. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this reaction so far, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in part 2 of this, or more videos in general of me reacting to Norway, usually Norwegian culture and things in Norway that are not so sad and depressing as this, usually. But, you know, this is a topic that came up that I'd heard about, and I don't want to shy away from it. I want to learn from the history and, you know, maybe even honor the people who were affected by this as best you can. It's such a sad story. Like, this tragedy is unfortunately so much worse than I anticipated. So, anyway, with that being said, thanks for watching, and see you next time.